Alright, time for something a little more serious, but not much. Today I'm going to show you how to adjust your solenoid. I get a lot of inquiries about this, but it's harder to describe over the phone than it is to just show you. So we're going to take this brand new Blackbird and I'm going to show you how to do that. That comes off. A lot of times this muzzle is really tight on these new birds. Sometimes your whole barrel will want to unscrew. Well, we lucked out. And what that does is it just loosens up the two halves of the gun. So now we can pull it apart. Let's go ahead and take the mag off. Now when you separate it like this, it gives you room to lift up your solenoid cover because it latches over there right there. Alright, now we're in the good part. I'm just going to go ahead and put this muzzle back on here. Tighten it all back up. And don't be scared of these guns, guys. I mean, anything that you think you can tear up, we can fix. Now, this solenoid is probably just fine where it is, but I'm doing this to show you. You can desolder these wires if you like. I'm going to wind up putting a different board in here, so it doesn't matter for me. And when you go to reconnect your wires, your polarity does not matter. Alright. You've got a set screw. Let me get something to point with. This set screw right here squeezes this collet, and it's also threaded so your solenoid can go back and forth in it. So we want to loosen that up. Now you can move it back and forth this way, or you can unscrew it or tighten it up. But because you've got this movement right now, I'm going to just go ahead and take this thing all the way out. Show you exactly what you're dealing with. Oop. There's a flat spot on this piece. You see the way it's designed is that flat spot goes on the bottom. I don't know how well you can see this, but it corresponds with that flat spot there. So when you tighten up this set screw, it actually squeezes this piece together. So if you have this not right in there, like say like that, and you go to tighten your set screw, it's not going to lock down on this is not going to lock on your solenoid threads. So you need to have it in the right position with the flat spot down. I've seen more than once when somebody buys a used Blackbird, they'll ask me about it, and I said, it's not working, what's going on? And you know, 9 out of 10 times the previous owner got in there and tried to do the solenoid adjustment and didn't know what they were doing, and then all of a sudden their gun didn't work. They didn't know how to fix it, so they sell it, which is kind of a shitty thing to do. Okay, now if we don't hold down on that clamp, it's going to push forward. And some other person asked me, you know, what's the right space between your solenoid and the frame here? And I kept telling him, I said, it's different for every gun. And I took 3 of my guns apart to show him, and it was, you know, like 1/8 of an inch difference across the spread. Alright, now, because we have this forward movement, we can adjust our solenoid, and that is done by pressing on the back of it. This is not really a fun job, but you press on the back of it to hit on your valve, and then you push forward to find out where it stops. So I can tell we need to screw this in more. Okay. We're not quite there. You don't want to screw it in so far that your striker hits on your valve seat back in there. You could screw some things up. And another thing is, when you start adding voltage to these guns, it can make your solenoid strike a lot harder, and I recommend that you adjust your solenoid before or when you add voltage, because what I ran into with my Bumblebee was when I hopped it up to like almost 25 volts, it made the solenoid strike a lot harder than it would normally on, say, 9 volts like stock voltage. And it actually hit it so hard that it knocked, there's a little rivet around the valve pin in here, it knocked that out. So alright, okay, I can go forward a little bit more. And if you want to conserve air, you don't want to be striking your valve pin all the way in, but I don't think that's very fun. So it looks like we've got a little wiggle room in there, which is good. That's what I like. I have a theory that these plungers get stretched out, especially when you start adding the voltage to them, so it's something to keep an eye on. Right back in here, if you start seeing wear around that pin, you need to do another solenoid adjustment and back it off. But let's see. I'm going to back mine off just a little bit. Okay, I'm comfortable with that. Now let's go ahead and take the forward motion out of it by making sure that our clamp is all the way back on the frame and the flat spot is down there. And just lock it down. I'll go ahead and put the solenoid cover back on it for a demonstration. And it latches up under there. Boom. And just tighten everything up and you should be good to go. Later.